Back to the substance, though. I want to get to Chuck Rosenberg. He started to talk about some of this witness tampering that we heard about at the end of the hearing yesterday. Congresswoman Liz Cheney praised witnesses for having the courage to testify before the panel and showed statements from witnesses who allegedly had been pressured by Trump associates before giving their depositions to the committee.
Our committee commonly asks witnesses connected to Mr. Trump's administration or campaign whether they've been contacted by any of their former colleagues or anyone else who attempted to influence or impact their testimony. Here's how one witness described phone calls from people interested in that witness's testimony. Quote, "What they said to me is as long as I continue to be a team player, they know I'm on the right team. I'm doing the right thing. I'm protecting who I need to protect. You know I'll continue to stay in good graces in Trump world. And they have reminded me a couple of times that Trump does read transcripts, and just keep that in mind as I proceed through my interviews with the committee." Here's another sample in a different context. This is a call received by one of our witnesses. Quote, "A person let me know you have your deposition tomorrow. He wants me to let you know he's thinking about you. He knows you're loyal and you're going to do the right thing when you go in for your deposition."
Chuck Rosenberg, that's Gambino crime family stuff, contacting a witness before they go in for a deposition. What could be, you started to talk about this a minute ago, but what could be the implications? Again, we don't know who said that yet, but that was sort of a tease of coming attractions when the committee gets back together in a couple of weeks. What would be the implications for whoever sent those messages?
They could be dire, Willie. As I had started to say earlier, our entire system of justice is predicated on people coming forth and telling the truth. I mean, that's how it works. You take an oath to tell the truth. Jurors take an oath to judge impartially. It's all based on truth-telling and adhering to an oath. And so when people try to undermine that, and these are all buzzwords, by the way, you know, protect who you need to protect. We know you're loyal. You're a team player, Willie. These are all buzzwords. They are trying to undermine that truth-telling function. And so I think consequences could be dire. We have to know who said it, to whom they said it, when they said it, why they said it, at whose request they were saying it. But conceivably, that's all obstruction of justice. And it's often the cover-up. We know that from lots and lots of cases. You know, I've put hundreds, if not thousands, of witnesses on the stand as a federal prosecutor. I don't tell them to protect anyone. I don't tell them to be loyal to a particular position. I don't urge them to be a team player. I say, look, you're going to be under oath, and you need to tell the truth. And if you don't tell the truth under oath, I don't care who it is you're trying to help. You're in a hell of a lot of trouble. Your obligation is to the truth. So these things that you're hearing from Liz Cheney at the end of the hearing yesterday, to me, are alarming. Again, we need to know who it was who said it and to whom they said it. But this goes right to the core of our truth-finding function, and that's deeply dangerous to our system.
Well, and John Heilman, it's like we're getting a tease, obviously, of things to come. And by the way, the one thing I remember yesterday morning when I was talking about this hearing, I said, you know, the January 6th committee, they've played everything right. They've done an exceptionally good job of rolling out all of this evidence, presenting it in a way that the American people follow easily. But I think they're overplaying their hand here. An emergency witness, an emergency hearing, they're over. Of course, they didn't overplay their hand at all. And then at the end, we find out about this witness tampering. And there's that statement from Chairman Benny Thompson saying, you still have time.
Got a chance.
You still have, you know what?
There's still a chance.
I just want you to know. I just want you to know before you start getting ready to get your criminal defense attorneys and going to jail. I just want you to know our door is still open. If you lied, if you need, as they say in the business, some time to refresh your recollection and maybe go back and clean up previous testimony, the door's open. The water's warm. Come on in. But like Noah's Ark, that door is going to close soon.
Yeah, and Joe, I think the point you're making is so important. When these hearings started,
a lot of us talked about the challenge that they faced, the committee members, to break through in this polarized political environment, this fragmented media environment. The two impeachments of Donald Trump did not break through to the American people. And so the question was, what did they learn the lessons of those two impeachments as a matter of political communication and persuasion and bringing and telling stories, right? And I think that they have not only met that challenge, but they put on a masterclass here. I mean, in every respect. The choice to turn this into not just to get rid of the normal congressional theatrics, to get rid of opening statements, to get rid of preening, camera hogging Congress people, and focus every session like a laser beam in a prosecutorial fashion has been brilliant. But I'll say the thing you just said is the most important thing, which is what they have done is something I've never seen a congressional committee ever do before, which is to grasp the most important element of storytelling, narrative, which is to keep people interested. You have to keep them asking the question, what happens next? If you can get a reader or a viewer to be asking that question at every interval, what happens next? I can't wait to see what happens next. What's going to happen next? They are hooked. And I think this was a huge challenge for this committee. Again, I've never seen it before, but the thing they've done has been masterful in terms of isolating on specific stories, specific elements of the larger story they're trying to tell, and bringing people along beat by beat to the point where people who had no idea they were interested are now riveted. And even people who aren't watching the hearings are getting a sense of what's going on in them because so many people are repeating the high points and they're focusing so intensely on those high points. It's been quite stunning how much they've exceeded the expectations that anybody had for them.
Chuck Rosenberg, just closing out with the 3 points you started with. Trump knew they were armed. Trump knew they were not there to hurt him. Allusions potentially to witness tampering. Getting a sense here of what the committee's role is versus the Justice Department. You mentioned consequences could be dire. By who, for who?
Well, that was with respect to witness tampering, but more broadly, Mika, to your question, witnesses can be dire to anyone who broke the law. But here's just something to keep in mind, a little bit of math. I know it's early, but a little bit of math. If the committee has spoken to 1,000 people for 4 hours each, that's 4,000 hours of deposition testimony. We've now heard about 10 or 12. So as a prosecutor, I want to hear the other 99.5%, right? Before I make a prosecutorial decision, I want to know where my case is strong, and I want to know where it's weak. I want to know where it can be challenged, and I want to know where the inconsistencies are. So I agree with the panel today. I agree with John in particular that this has been a devastating presentation of facts. But prosecutors need to look at the other 99.5%. We don't have it. The committee does. I assure you that the Department of Justice either has it or will get it, and will have more than the committee. But in order to make prosecutorial decisions about witness tampering or sedition or anything else, you need to look at all the evidence. So it's often tempting to think that we know what needs to be done with the stuff we have. The committee has done an outstanding job of telling a compelling and linear and cogent story. Completely agree with that. But before I make a prosecutorial decision, before I know that my case can stand up in court under cross-examination, I want to see everything, Mika.